are you, Sid?
All right, I'm good. How are you, Jim?
I'm good. I'm good. I had a fun summer, and that's what I'm actually going to be talking about in this presentation. I had 10 summer camps that were all around science, technology, engineering, math, and art, or STEAM, on my urban farm, where they built tools on the farm to help me run the farm sustainably. And they came up with an acronym that I really, really love because it incorporates all components of my farm. It's called C, and it stands for sustainability, energy, and ecology. And this particular presentation I'm going to be giving today is the capstone of all the research that these kids in these 10 different STEM camps did this summer. And it was all engineered around saving 10 baby chicks that had been hatched to share with Columbus City Schools. I live in Columbus, Ohio, and I guess I should step back. Sid knows me, but the world doesn't. Hi, Kristen. My name is Jim Bruner. I am the futurist farmer and alpha animal at Mezzacello Urban Farm in downtown Columbus, Ohio, in the United States. And my farm is 12 blocks by foot to the state capitol. So I live in downtown Columbus in a very, very urban, deeply urban built environment. And I like to get people in the framework of where I live. The predators for the animals on my farm are falcons and hawks that live on skyscrapers 7 blocks away, raccoons and rats that come from restaurants 7 blocks away, and transient people who come from all over to go to homeless shelters in downtown Columbus. So I am literally downtown, but I'm enclosed in a third of an acre or an eighth of a hectare in the city. And there I have a farm. And the farm is all robotic, sustainable, and runs on renewable power. And that's why the first E in SEE is energy. So do you mind if I get started? Because I only
Oh,
have 15 minutes.
it's
All
gonna
right.
be fun. Yep.
I think you have longer than 15 minutes.
Oh,
Just let
good.
me, I think you have a full half an hour.
Oh, excellent. Well, I
So
did not.
yeah, you should, on the roster, it says you have half an hour.
Okay, great.
2 o'clock to 2:30, at least in my time.
Um, where is, I always have this trouble, Sid. I can't find my screen.
The share screen button.
I got it. I got it. Okay, this is super straightforward. And I've done something new, Sid and Kristen. I innovated. I built out this PowerPoint. Actually, it's a keynote, but I built out a slideshow, which is the way I've always done it. Which, can you see that, Sid?
Yep.
Okay. But I also built it out as a blog post on my website. So you can go to mezzacello.org, click on it, and just follow through. And all of the CAD diagrams, all the schema, everything that we did, all the tertiary and quaternary research and projects that we did to make sustainability happen here are in that blog. So you can follow along online or you can follow this on YouTube. So the name of this presentation is The Power of Place. I have to admit, it's not my best title ever, but it came before my mentors, who are kids your age, Sid, who I have trained to be my teachers. And they taught all of these 10 camps. They taught all of the curriculum, and they're the ones that came up with the acronym C, sustainability, energy, and ecology. So this was originally designed to focus on energy and ecology, but it's also, which is very dear to my heart, sustainability. So in this image, you can see the 4 iterations of the chicken tractor concept. Have you ever heard of a chicken tractor, Sid?
I do not believe so.
Okay, don't get confused. It's not a John Deere. It's not something you can drive. Tractor is a Middle English word that just means open on the bottom and you can pull it along so animals can graze, but they can't get out.
Wow.
So tractor number 1, when I first started Mezzacello, was my grandkids' playhouse on 2 4x4s. And I just dragged it around and they could go out and eat grass and be safe in the night from predators. That's one of the main things, security. A tractor has to provide security. Well, that was really heavy, and I hated moving it. And plus, rats could get underneath there, and they started killing my baby chicks. So obviously, that's a failure. What do we do with failure? We iterate. So the second iteration, this is 3-inch PVC with PVC hoops that go over it, and it's wrapped in chicken wire, opened on the bottom. The whole thing weighed maybe 20 kilo, and it was because it's PVC, it's really easy to slide along the grass. The chickens could eat the grass, eat the grubs, and leave their manure, which in 3 days made the grass really, really green. Great, great project for the farm as it was then. However, the farm started getting built out into the 10 unique ecologies, and I couldn't drag this 3-meter tractor around sharp corners anymore. So what do? I iterate. Iteration 3, we built a triangular tractor. Triangles are the strongest shape in nature. And we put it either on the ground or on wheels so we could protect chicks, baby rabbits, quail, and guinea pigs and baby ducklings from predators, allow them to graze and fertilize, but still give them a place to be safe. That was 3. This is made of wood. Carbon monoxide and other pollutants and UV radiation degrade wood quickly. This fell apart within 28 months. So didn't work. It's designed for suburbia, goes on a patio, really not designed for an urban farm. So iteration 4, steel. If I leave it out and weeds grow up into it, pull out a flamethrower, burn it. Burn everything underneath it and go. It comes integrated with the steel enclosure, 3 ways to enter, an integrated PVC sliding mechanism that also serves as roosting bars for chickens and ducks. Well, ducks don't really use it, but chickens and chicks do. And a taller pipe that I can integrate solar onto. And I can put up to 400 watts of solar on this, a built-in waterproof battery with a AC inverter. So if I need to keep babies warm, if I need to keep ducklings warm, if I need a pump, if I need any system, computers, infrared, any kind of system, I can just plug it into the system and it will produce energy on its own. Would you like to see more?
Yes, please.
$5.
Oh wait, what? No, wait.
Okay, so here's the problem in 3 easy steps. 1, keep animals, grounds, plants, and I can't read the other part because it's hidden. Something else safe and fed. Make this sustainable with onboard energy. And 3, maintain or improve the ecologies of Mezzacello. And you're going to see these 3 icons at the bottom: sustainability, energy, and ecology. And I'm going to tack off when we hit those goals every time we did.
So these aren't like problems, they're goals for your idea.
Correct. And remember, I helped design this, but all of this was researched, built, designed, tested, and modified by kids. So this is our base unit. This was gifted to me by 2 people I used to work with that had a dog they loved who passed away, and they didn't know what to do with the kennel. So they gifted me 2 of these kennels. And one of my interns says, dude, that's steel. We should totally use that. And then another intern said, well, the structural integrity of PVC, if you glue it together, it'll fit through there. Steel and PVC doesn't produce electricity, and the steel would be grounded if you grounded it into the PVC. This sounds perfect. Get rid of that tray at the bottom, and they have access to the ground. So this is not designed for dogs. It's designed for every other animal at Mezzacello. So here's the schematic. This is what it looks like. Side elevation with a door. Front elevation with a door. Top elevation with a door. And you can see how the skid integrates into the metal cage. And I have some reasoning up top that just described what I just said. This is what it looks like as an integrated schematic. At the top is energy. In the middle is security. Within the middle, hanging and safe, so it's on a gimbal, is water and feed that doesn't touch the ground and goes with the animals. So if there's nothing there for them to eat, I can provide food. And we have a system for that as well, which I'll get to. Then you have the structure that's designed to slide along the grass and provide roosting. And lastly, you have the ability to move in the X and Y or Z index, I can lift it up and move it, or I can slide it and move it. If I have grubs, if I have weeds, if I have any problem, slide it over there, let the animals take care of it, and nature balances itself. So everything is accounted for here. I ticked off all three of those. So this is my 10th year of running Mezzacello. So it's a decade of sustainability. And this is Mezzacello as a map. And those two red rectangles represent the scale of the very second chicken tractor, 3 meters long, and the modified C tractor, and how much smaller it is. Because these are so much cheaper to build than the large tractors, and they provide energy and benefit the ecology and can turn sharp corners, I can put 5 of these in any of the ecologies at Mezzacello, and they will run autonomously. Up to 4 days before the chickens start destroying the ground beneath them. So, all right, scale and sustainability. This is the scale of the two tractors. This is what they look like at scale to each other. One looks janky, or that's terrible. One looks like it was put together, in a haste, because it was. I didn't know anything. And the second one is custom engineered and put together with thoughtful intent. These are the animals that live at Mezzacello: baby chicks, roosters, guinea pigs, baby chickens, quail, and rabbits. There are also fish and crickets, but they can't live in this ecology because this ecology won't hold water, and crickets could just jump out. Plus, I raise crickets and worms and mealworms on the farm as an alternative source of protein. So I can just take those and drop them in to the tractor to feed the animals. So they really do become part of it, but not by design. All right, I want to introduce the idea of sympathy. Sympathy is a portmanteau, which is just a big word for two words smashed together, which is STEM and empathy. And I think that STEM, and I know you know this, Sid, because I've been following you for 5 years. When you give kids a reason to want to do something, a relevant reason, their empathy goes off the charts and they will solve that problem because it matters to them. So the presentation that I gave them, these were the 3 things that we have to think about. We have to start at the atomic and molecular level and provide for these animals. They have to be safe from disease. They have to be safe from other problems. You need to understand everything that goes into their biological processes and their food. Slide number 2. So we have DNA and the periodic table of elements. We really went into the quantum structure of food to research this as a solution set. Slide or picture number 2. This is my mentor with the hat. He taught this entire camp how to make food for humans, how to make food for different animals in mammalia, in avia, and in ichthyus, which is fish. We made 4 different types of feed for 4 different kinds of animals, including the crickets, from waste materials found at Mezzacello. Boom, sustainability. The last picture is what's called a water battery, and this is a way of purifying water using UV filters and ultrasonic filters that destroy the bacterial walls of algae and bacteria so that the water coming out of it is pure. It still has bacteria in it, but it's been neutralized. So that's what we can go to get water for the C tractor built. But it went deeper than that over the 10 camps. This is iteration number 2 of the water purification. I don't know if you've ever run in mud, Sid, or seen what duck water looks like. It's filthy, it's disgusting, and it's incredibly dangerous. I have to have a special permit from the city just to handle it because it is incredibly dangerous. So we took the water battery concept and we iterated it up to the next level. You put the filthy water in the top, and then at the bottom of it is a piece of linen that, using capillary action, pulls fresh water out of that filth down into the bottom barrel, which then uses that UV filter, solar powered, and ultrasonic vibrators to destroy any bacterial walls that are left. And then at the bottom where the blue is, we put in grapevine, and the water is then further cellularly and molecularly processed by the grapevine, because the grapevine has capillary action as well. All water is collected and using a solar power pump, pumped back up into that large tank in the back, which is fresh water, which then feeds the ducks and chickens fresh water again. System is completely enclosed. Second, we used AI to identify edible weeds and then started processing and sorting weeds. These are weeds that chickens can eat. These are weeds that rabbits cannot. These are weeds and algae that fish can eat. These are weeds that fish cannot. And then we started processing that using a product called a pelletizer, which when you mix it with molasses and a molecular beer that we also make on site, an egg, corn, or Timothy hay, it creates the pellets. We set them out to dry, put them in 40 kilogram bags, dry them, and now we have feed on demand from yard waste. Nothing from the outside. Mezzacello is completely self-sustaining. The fourth slide are structure systems that we could build when we didn't have the dog kennels. We were just going to build biodomes like I already have out of wiffle balls and sticks. And then what we did was we heated the wiffle balls so that they became pliable. The sticks were too big to fit into the wiffle ball holes. So we stuck them in when it was warm and poured ice water over it, and the tensegrity tightened and the entire structure became tight. And this was going to be the original C project. We were just going to 3D print the tensegrity points, but we ended up not having to do that because we got a dog kennel. The last are two of my interns setting up a solar array and a wind turbine array for the biodome to heat a sand battery to keep all the plants and processing facilities for feed warm in the biodome over Ohio's -5, -7 degrees Celsius weather. So that's all the back end innovation that went into building this product. So did it solve the problem? A picture is worth 1,000 words. These are the two systems. One was the original that we used as a control. The second was the one we adapted and modified. Both of those panels are charging my e-bot. And they're also keeping those baby chicks safe. The feed that they're eating is a termite mound that I found and grubs and dandelions. We just put them on top of it and move it. That is the process in action. And you can see we ticked off sustainability, power production, and ecology. This will fit anywhere at Mezzacello, and anyone can build it. $20, maybe €23, $25 Canadian. So the final product, this is what it looks like. You can see all the systems I was talking about, the cage, the way the cage and the PVC interact, how the structure supports tensegrity, how it has roosting points, how it pushes the cage along, lifts the cage along, allows the PVC to use its anti-static effect in grass to slide. It even shows where the power system, which is waterproof, has a 12 volt 100 amp hour battery and an AC inverter, MPPT inverter, that you can plug anything into. A fan, a heater, a heat lamp, whatever you need to make this work. And you can also plug a pump in, put a hose on the pump, put that in my rain barrel, fill it full of water if you need water. Or build a tank on it and fill that tank, and the tank will feed the water as it goes. Doesn't really add any weight, and it's perfectly balanced in the center of the system, so it won't tip. So, bonus benefit. I had this. The chicks have been given away. The cockerels that weren't wanted, I had to process those. Nobody wanted them. A cockerel's a baby rooster. So I have facilities to do that as well because nothing goes to waste. But this is my rooster. And the reason I don't like Keynote and PowerPoint is I can't zoom. But if you go in to the website and you zoom in on these pictures, you can see the problem here. This rooster loves these two hens and he's overbreeding them. And the way that roosters breed is they jump on the back of a hen, use their claws to hold them down, and breed. But in the fall, when there's less sunlight and these hens aren't getting enough calcium and magnesium, their feathers fall out. And when their feathers fall out, other chickens start pecking them. So their skin is exposed. So I needed to isolate them away from the other chickens and isolate the rooster because he has a secondary problem, Roosters have a Cyrix, and I've presented on this before. The 3D printed no-crow collar was rubbing away the feathers on his ruffle, and now the hens were pecking at him as well, so he needs a timeout to heal. So they're healing, and this mobile tractor also becomes an isolation cage. I also, every camp, I have to test animals for H5N1 avian flu. This is the perfect isolation cage. I have 2 of them, pre-test, post-test. When I bring new animals in, this system integrates new animals into the ecology at Mezzacello, keeps them safe until I know they're healthy, and I can integrate them with the other animals. Boom. Everything in one fell swoop. And I can manage biological factors and disease vectors easily. So that's my presentation, 15 minutes like I promised. Any questions, or can I expand on anything for you? And this is how the way you contact me.
This is wow. Like, first of all, Christian, you might want to put that contact in the YouTube chat.
I did already.
Before I suggested it. Anyways, Jim, I thought it was an amazing presentation. It really covered a lot of the key points. It showed how everything is self-sustainable in this entire farm. I do have a few questions though, and comments. I did notice though on like the first slide that all of your iterations, the first one was like very complex, but then each one it went, like although iterations are supposed to get more complex, it just looked more convenient, or like it looked much more simpler than the last one, but it also was more useful, which I just noticed and I thought that was cool.
I'm going to try to open that up again. I wish I could open the website, but I can't be on Zoom and show the website at the same time. So pardon me. I'm so bad at this. I can
Would you
never
like me to
find-
share screen for you, Jim?
Would you mind, love? Could you open
can
it in
do
the web browser?
Mhm.
Just open mezzacello.org. There's a link for it right there. Thank you, Kristen. That was kind of you.
That's why I'm here.
Go down a little bit. There it is. Okay, so go down a little bit more.
Tell me when to stop.
Start here. So go ahead and go back up. There's 4 images here. So to answer your question, I disagree with you. Innovation doesn't always mean more complicated. For example, let's talk about the light bulb. All right, the original light bulb, which worked on the fact of black body radiation that Einstein won the Nobel Prize for, heating tungsten to super hot temperatures so that it glows, and it released 5% of its energy as light versus 95% of its energy as heat. It worked, but it wasted an enormous amount of energy and caused around, and I don't have absolute data on this, but around 10,000 house fires in the first decade of its use. Because the idea of the ultraviolet catastrophe or collapse, that light and heat and magnetism are all the same thing, it wasn't obvious to them. Whereas fast forward 100 years, like 1925 then to 2025 now, you and I both know almost all light is solid state, LED, which produces the inverse, 95% light and 5% heat. So no, it doesn't get more complicated. Sometimes it actually gets easier. And if you want something to be adopted, you need to make it easier to use. So which one are you going to go with? The light bulb that will give you 3rd-degree burns when you try to take it out of the socket while it's lighting, or the light bulb that you can touch and just change? And you can test and wire yourself. So simplicity is actually a feature, not a detriment. So Kristen, can you roll down to 2? Still complicated, but a little bit easier to use. Keep going. And I have an iteration on this. This was a second iteration. Hold on a second, you can have the question.
Oh, sorry.
This was that triangular coop on a metal cart. So they couldn't eat the grass because I wanted to give them medicated feed, but their waste still went to the ecology beneath. It dropped down through to 4. Go ahead and go to the 4th one. And this is what I ended up with. So do you see, I think simplicity is actually a feature.
I Yeah, each one is much more conventional than the others. Like the first one is a whole like dollhouse, or I don't know exactly what it was, a plate.
Playhouse.
And this is just a metal box which works much more, like much better. I just found that very interesting.
Yeah, and it's easy to source. That was the big thing. Super easy to source. I found 3 more of these things in the alley behind my house. The door latch was broken. One of the metal pieces was broken. I have a welder. I just picked them up and I made 5 more.
Yeah,
So it just recycle. Recycle isn't about convenience. It's about reimagining what you can do with the resources you have, which is the essence of sustainability.
sustainability is just don't like everything has a use. It's like when it doesn't have a use to you, it's somebody else. Like one man's junk, another man's treasure, I guess.
Absolutely. You know, as an inventor, you know that to be the truth.
Yeah. Sometimes the greatest inventions are built out of scrap.
The light bulb was a scrap. He started with the hair from his wife's head and ended up with the same rig in the evacuated dome. I'm talking about Edison here with tungsten. He was his 100th iteration. And that's how he got to it. It's junk. He just kept trying things, just like I did. I just kept trying things. And by the way, that second tractor, the big PVC one, went to an urban farm, another community garden here, and it's still in use. They still use it for their baby chicks and chickens. So it was highly functional. I just couldn't store it. I couldn't collapse it. This, my 4th iteration, collapses flat. The PVC comes apart. Everything goes into a box and gets stored in my attic. Or I'm sorry, in the rafters of my garage when I'm not using it.
Will you tell us more about the solar panel and what the purpose of the solar panel is on this one?
Yeah. So the solar panel is a 180-watt flexible printed solar array. You can get them for like $80 US on Amazon. And I ordered 6 of them because I have 4 of these on the outside of my biodome, which is a big round dome. And because they're flexible, I can aim them at the sun at any time. They have standard solar panel plugs that go into solar power plugs that wire into the MPPT power charger embedded in that power box. So I can just plug 3 of these up if I need to, or one. One of these takes about, it charges up the 12 volt, 100 amp hour battery on a sunny day here at my latitude in about 3 hours. So but just like everything, like I'm going to show you my fingernail doesn't do one thing. 1, it protects the back of my finger. 2, I can scratch things with it. 3, it leaches out toxins in my body. And 4, it allows me to press down with my thumb and gives me a hard springboard on the back. Nothing good or worthwhile in nature does just one thing. So, in addition to providing energy from the photon hitting the electron holes in the solar panel and producing free electrons that I can then store in that battery, it also provides shade. It hides the birds from falcons and hawks circling above, and it protects them from rain. And if I put the right filter in there, the rain will run down that into that filter and I can collect rainwater on it. So, yeah, it does more than one thing. All good things should do more than one thing.
You were talking about how it could like turn. Is that turn automated based on where the sun is in the sky, or do you just do it yourself manually?
Has to be done by a human. I haven't, that would require more energy than this solar panel could produce, but I ran out of money because it's been a really tight year because I lost a lot of grant funding to Doge. So I was doing everything on a shoestring budget this year. I wanted to build a remote controlled engine on this that would just run it. But there are a couple of problems with that. 1, I don't have the money to do it. 2, it would raise the bottom of this product too high that the chickens wouldn't be able to get to the grass. And 3, predators might be able to slip underneath where the wheels are to get to the animals. So I need to come up with a better solution than that. It's probably going to be something like the geared track that I have on the Terra rover that NASA gave me last year as part of a grant that was supposed to be again this year, but I didn't get that grant. But I do have a Terra rover track, and the track can be mounted lower and could just run it along because it's like a tank. It would just push this thing forward like a tank, and then the only thing I'd have to do is replace the PVC with sleds, ski sleds, which would have lower surface to surface area on the grass and slide smoother and would look cool. Basically, it would be a snowmobile for grass. Oh my God, I should totally write that down.
I think sometimes, so Jake, I know, is on in the background here, and sometimes I'm hearing the most fortuitous things are things that happen accidentally. Jake, what were you telling me about the light bulb and the hair?
Well, the story that Jim just told about Edison using his wife's hair is absolutely true. But what Edison discovered was the reason it worked was because her hair was dirty and greasy. Clean hair doesn't work. And so Edison then got clean hair, but he had to coat it with carbon dust. It was carbon to get it to conduct. So
That's cool. I didn't know that.
yes, he was. So it was using soot, carbon dust on the hair, and the hair is just the transport mechanism. It's actually the carbon that is conducting the electricity.
Hashtag carbon nanotubes for the win. But I mean, those are great questions. Do I have any other questions?
This is more of an overarching question about your entire project. But from like these past few years, have you noticed like the greenery and level of grass in Mezzacello like dipping, going higher, or staying the same like throughout all of these endeavors with the animals?
I'm so glad you asked that question. Can you picture a big tanker ship in the ocean with a bunch of boxes on it, and what goes behind it in the water?
Like,
Okay, so it does. It leaves a swath of green behind it, and you can tell where this mobile tractor has been because what's ahead of it is brown or full of dandelions. What's behind it is green and perfectly fertile. So think of it as a reverse mower. Instead of cutting the grass, it grows the grass. And I need the grass because I use the grass for 5 different functions at Mezzacello. I use it for compost. I use it as biofuel because when it breaks down, it creates methane. I pressurize that, pull that methane off, clean it, and I can heat things with that. That's what I burn weeds with the methane and the flamethrower. It feeds rabbits because I can put it in the rabbit feed to make rabbit pellets. It also allows me to, it's a mulch because grass, when you cut it, doesn't grow again. It just turns into ammonia and carbon. So it's a great mulch for garden beds. And the last thing I can do with it is I can compress it down under great pressure and make algae blocks that I can then coat in gypsum. And then I package that and I sell that as a bioblock. And you basically just put that in your garden, unwrap it, wet it. As the gypsum rots away or melts away, that grass fertilizes the ground that bioblock is on, and it becomes slow release compost.
I
So
have a
yeah,
question for you, Jim.
yeah.
If other educators are interested in talking with you or trying to replicate some of what you do in their own environments, how do they get a hold of you? How do they find out what you're doing? Do you have a curriculum? Do you have, what resources do you have if others are interested in doing something similar?
So my website is, I'm a nonprofit, so it's completely open source. Go to mezzacello.org and you can search for any project that you're interested in, or just go to the blogs. I have 7,000 blogs on there at this point of every mistake, and most of the mistakes that I've made have actually been part of GIFT. Jake, do you remember when I was building the biotower, the bioreactor, and I put the turbine on wrong and destroyed that turbine blade? Yeah, I learned from my mistakes. I am, to your point, for the first time working with a school district this year in January, I have built an entire 10-day curriculum around sustainability that is standards aligned for Ohio state standards in science, English language arts, and math. And I'll be teaching that. And I'll be putting those up online. But what I really shine at is finding the power in children, not enabling teachers to do things. I give them ideas, but What I advocate for is trusting and believing in the power of empathy and genius of children. Give them resources, let them fail, let them learn from failure, and be the hero of that story. That's where true learning lives. And I don't know how, I mean, I get lots of pushback from teachers. Can you give me standards? Do you have a teaching? I'm not a teacher. I'm not. I'm a Willy Wonka on a farm. I want kids to find the world and have fun doing it. But that's not what I do best. So if I have teachers that want to work with me, absolutely. I'll give you everything you
Sound-
want.
Great.
Sounds great.
Excellent.
I'm going to hand, we're at the top of this time, so I'm going to actually hand things over to Jake. I think I'm seeing the next presenter is here.
Yep.
So thank you so much, Jim.